Hello, friends, and welcome to 10 Points Under, the game in which Isamu is for scrubs. This is true.
And this is Taylor, aka Big Bullfrog.
And how are you doing today, Taylor?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself, True?
I'm doing swell. Thank you for asking.
That's good. Yeah.
I really appreciate that. I mean, yeah.
Anytime you need somebody to ask how you're doing, you just hit me up.
Okay, and if you need anybody to just kind of mosey through life and not ask you how you're doing, cool.
Yeah, I'll talk to my parents.
Yep. Anyway, so we have a fascinating game for you guys this fine evening. Taylor, why don't you explain some of the format that we'll be doing today?
Yeah, so format is basically just a standard kill 'em all. Last man standing wins between two great players, Flash 19 and Superfrog.
Flash being one of our local Utah players.
Yeah, that is correct. Flash 19 is a great player, really, really solid. I've played against him a couple times. I finally played against him one-on-one at one of our recent Utah monthlies, and I was impressed. He does a really, really good job. He's also a really good map maker. If you haven't checked out his map thread, you completely should.
Yes, and he will also crush you if you play a mirror match with him with Havoc Eradicators. So, just a heads up, if you decide to play Havoc Eradicators and you run into Flash, you don't want to be in that situation.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't know from experience, but from what I've heard.
Yeah. Me either. Of course not.
Yeah.
All right. So a couple items of business, if we will. Oh, wait, we didn't talk about Superfrog. Well,
it's okay. People talk about Superfrog all the time.
Superfrog being a pretty good player. I've only seen him play once against Sir Heroscape, but
yeah, he's a good player. He's a really prominent member of the Heroscapers community. He's in the Soldiers of Valhalla. One of their judges. He's in the C3V as well.
Yo, we got a judge on here?
Yeah, man, we got a judge.
Whoa.
Also, he's just like he's like the welcoming guy to the community. He's always there. If you've got a question, he'll answer it. Like one of the fastest guys that I've seen. If you're new, he'll tell you where the thread is to find people who play nearby you. He's just like, super cool dude, always helping out.
That's right.
I really like him.
Just a swell guy.
Yeah, man.
And he will be ruthless on this battlefield.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
No. He gonna be nuts.
All right. Well, with that said, why don't we now attempt to go into the items of business? We've had a couple of frequently asked questions over on both the Heroscape website and the Facebook page. So, Taylor, why don't you take it away with answering some of those?
Yeah, so I just wanted to give a quick explanation about how I've got things set up. Just because I have had questions about maps, like figures, how to play online Heroscape. I love answering those questions, but just so that you guys are aware, I will also always have links in the description below. I will have links to cards for the figures that are played in each army, so you can pull those up if you're unfamiliar with them. I've got links to the maps, both the download as well as the online Heroscape version of it. And I also have links to how to play Heroscape online that you can check out.
Online?
Yeah, man, just like they're doing right here. And
whoa.
Yeah, so I've got those links. You can check them out. Please do. And if you have any further questions, I'm still always happy to answer questions. And obviously, because I'm making these links already, I'm totally fine with doing more. But yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know that. Wanted to let you know that we're really excited about growing this channel. We've had a lot of really good feedback so far. We're looking to input a lot of it, including things like getting guest commentators to guest star with us, trying to find out how to use just better, like showing what's going on with the game,
maybe getting getting an overlay potentially.
Overlay would be really tight. As a heads up for this game, this is a game that I recorded a while ago, and I practiced commentating on it before True and I really started into this, just to make sure I could talk about a game for a bit. So the mouse will not always be reflecting what we're talking about.
That is correct.
Yeah, but I think that's enough business at the front end. We can talk about anything else we need to at the end. Let's go ahead and get into this game.
Yeah, why don't we start her up?
All right. So this is Superfrog is into the beginning of his first turn right now.
So why don't we kind of go over armies? Superfrog is playing, what is it? The skeletons of Analintia? Is that how you pronounce that?
Sure. I've heard it a lot of different ways. I don't think anybody's really sure on how to pronounce it. But yes, they're C3V unit skeletons of Analintia. They're pretty solid. Again, card is in the description below if you want to check it out and look at it while the game is going on. But basically, they're a 4-man squad with 4 move, 3 attack, 3 defense. The main draw to their card is that they have, let me remind myself the name of the power, necromancy, which is when one of them is destroyed, you get to roll the 20-sided die. If it's an 11 or higher, you place that skeleton onto, basically in this game, Nicholas Essenwine's army card. And then when you take another turn with the skeletons, you can put one skeleton from that card onto the battlefield next to, in this case, Nicholas.
Seems pretty synergistic, if I will. And Flash is supporting the Warforged soldiers.
Yep, that's correct. He's got 3 squads of those Warforged soldiers, widely known for their ability to swap places with figures that they're attacking. So it's they're really good at snagging that height and glyphs from you. If
also pretty sturdy figures.
That is true. They do have an automatic shield against all special and normal attacks.
And following up those 3 squads, we also have Heirloom, Evar Scarcarver, and Guilty McCreech, which are a pretty solid hero group we got here, if I do say so myself, Taylor.
Yep, that's correct. It's a lot of army. That's 4 army cards that Flash is using in his army. So his order markers will be spread out a bit more throughout the game. But he really excels at using those wide or just like those more complicated to play armies. He does that here in Utah all the time and always ends up placing really well despite running more difficult to play armies.
Oh, yeah. Here in Utah, we tend to like to snipe army cards, and he tends to place very well for that.
Yeah, he's really solid. One other thing really quick about the skeletons, since Superfrog is moving them up right now. They also do have an Undead Legion power, which is after taking a turn with them, you get to move 2 more of them 4 spaces. Kind of similar to the zombies. Basically, you're moving 6 of them each turn.
Yeah, zombies. Not a big fan. Skeletons, though, they have been released from their fleshy meat prisons, so far less scary, in my personal opinion.
You're scared of meat?
This is an odd time for you to point this out, but maybe I am. But you know who does not have meat? We got the Warforged. I believe Flash is starting his turn. We just got some board control turns coming up here, setting up for certain positions to come in.
Yeah, that's correct. We've got, with these 2 melee squads going out at each other in the early game, a lot of this is just going to be a lot of jockeying for position, looking to gain an advantage. And Superfrog, in particular, has to be really careful because any high ground that he takes, any advantageous places that he snags, can be taken right from him due to the Warforged tactical switch.
That's right. And it's almost like you'd still want to take those because if you don't take them, they're still just going to attack you from height. So,
right.
Why don't you tell us what glyphs do we have on this map today?
So the glyphs are in the north, we've got Wanok, the wound glyph.
Excellent.
And then in the south, we've got Velda, which is the movement glyph.
Ooh, those skeletons are going to want Velda. I'll have to tell you that.
Oh, yeah. Sprinting skeletons is, well, a skeleton's best friend.
If I've learned anything from zombies, fast zombies are bad zombies. So However, if Flash is able to pick up the Wynock glyph and be able to hold it with his Warforged, that might also be a tricky situation.
Yeah, that's true. So one thing about this, and I don't think this ever comes into play. I have seen this game before. Like I said, my mouse is right now circling Velda, because it's I was talking about it at that time. So
we were so close.
yeah, but one thing that could happen, I don't think this ever comes into play, but if Flash does take Wannock, and Superfrog takes the wound and puts it on one of the skeletons, Necromancy can save that skeleton instead of destroying it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's whenever a skeleton in Venom Lunchi is destroyed, be that through a normal attack, a special attack, a disengagement attack, falling damage, lava damage, Wannock, etc.
So it could just be pertinent that maybe that's not the case. Maybe Flash just goes in and crushes some skeletons.
Yeah, I think against an army that regenerates so much, Nicholas Essenwein, being a vampire, also has life drain, so he can heal himself off of kills.
Right.
Yeah, he wants to make sure that every attack that he makes counts. He wants to make sure that, well, he wants to try as much as possible to keep figures that he destroys or wounds destroyed.
Interesting enough, if Flash can get in there and kill Nicholas, zombies or the skeletons have a harder time in this matchup, effectively turning off two of their abilities.
Yeah, that's true. Once their resurrection/reanimation host is gone, any skeletons that are destroyed stay destroyed. Any that were on his card would basically not be able to come back. So yeah, if he had, and Flash doesn't really have a hero right now that's great for sniping. Guilty has 7 range, but he's going to be caught too quickly by the skeletons. But if he had, say, Zetacron or someone like that, sniping Nicholas becomes a very real possibility.
That's true. That said, though, Heirloom is really good at crowd control using that Force Orb special attack. So if he keeps those skeletons clumped up like that, he could potentially clear out a ton of them at once.
Yeah, that's really true. And that's actually, I think, a really big talking point about this game so far. So, and this is something that I kind of wanted to run by you, True, since you haven't seen this game before, but what do you think about the opening moves that each player is making right now?
So it seems kind of interesting. It seems like a standard, like slow roll melee move here, especially where both armies are not necessarily fast. The skeletons seem pretty clumped up, in my personal opinion. I don't know if I would necessarily move them in the way Superfrog has, moving them down, like a big clump of them down to the south towards that movement glyph. That's just because like Heirloom has a really good shot at just force orbing that. With 5 range, if Heirloom gets up in there, like that could take out half of your army. But seems pretty standard from at least Flash. Just slow rolling up the what's it called? The Warforged. So
right, yeah, that's really true. And it is kind of hard to spread out more so than Superfrog is doing right now. He could have done that a little bit more, but this is a pretty small and tight map.
Right.
Great map. Swamps of Oighir, Scath by Heroscape 2010. Check it out. But yeah, that's very true. So basically what I was thinking when I was watching this fight roll out is you've got, like you said, True, 2 fairly slow and two melee armies coming at each other where both players want to be really careful. The skeletons don't want to go out too far, otherwise they get torn apart by the Warforged, because the Warforged are probably going to win a fight one-on-one. But the skeletons do have the numbers and they have the potential to regenerate, so they really want to play into that advantage. But watching this, I'm thinking that Superfrog's army is completely melee, whereas Flash does have some good ranged figures on
That
his
is
side.
very true. Guilty and Heirloom having pretty prominent ranged attacks that are really good at picking apart skeletons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so like Guilty is really the focal point of what I was thinking. If Flash had run up Guilty, those skeletons only have 4 move, and with Guilty having 7 range, he could easily
He
stay
could
away from
kite.
the.
He
Yeah,
could
he can
kite
kite
the
like crazy.
skeletons into his Warforged using Guilty.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been really interesting to see. I wish he would have kind of done that now because I would have liked to see that play out. What would be interesting about that is if I was Superfrog and I would see that happening, I wonder if I would potentially try to move Nicholas up to try to kill Guilty.
Yeah, that'd be a point. But then if you move Nicholas up too far, then he gets too vulnerable, then you could lose him
That's
and not be
correct.
able to bring back your skeletons. But yeah, it does force a lot of basically that forces a bunch of decision making for your opponent when they're all melee and you have the range. You get to decide where and when the battle takes place, basically.
Here's the thing, though. Me thinking about this, I'm Flash probably played this out pretty smart, not pushing Guilty up that quickly, because if he would have pushed Guilty up too quickly, Nicholas could just overextend, taking
That's
2
true.
turns and potentially just wipe out Guilty right off the bat.
Yep, that is true. Nicholas does have overextend attack, same as Alistair McDirk, and with a flying vampire with 4 attack, that is pretty potent.
Not only that, but he moves 7. 7 hold spaces. You know how fast that is, Taylor? That's 1 faster than 6.
Yeah, man.
1 whole faster. Along with flying. What
This
is
episode
madness?
brought to you by math.
Math. Yeah, so even if he brought Guilty up into attack range for those skeletons, Nicholas is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Nicholas could fly into that start zone right now.
He could, but the other thing with that is Superfrog putting order markers on Nicholas. He didn't have any order markers on Nicholas last time other than the X. This round he
that's
has
fair.
1 order marker on Nicholas, probably the X again.
You know, that's fair. I am not seeing the order marker placement at the moment, so that is my bad. I should actually be paying attention to the chat window. Yeah, so I guess throwing Guilty out there pretty quick would have been a pretty interesting strategy. I'd like to see how that played out.
Yeah, and I think that's something that I love to do, and that I've seen a lot of high level players do is use their ranged figures first before their melee. And I think one concern that I have heard from other players is that if you do that, say Guilty had gone out first and started kiting back skeletons, then with Superfrog being able to move 6 skeletons a turn, then you're basically giving him the board.
That's true.
He'll be able to take all the high spots, to be able to take all the strong spots and all that stuff. But that's why Warforged in particular are such a good backup for that, because the Warforged don't care if you have the board. They can run in and take it right from you.
That's correct. And it does look like we're getting some attacks in, kind of cutting back into the game here.
Yeah, I guess we can do that.
Flash has moved 2 Warforged in pinning those high spots away from the skeletons, taking 2 skeletons away from the northern path, and then also having a Warforged on a height up farther north. So kind of interesting to see this play out.
Yep, he's taken some pretty good placement. The skeletons still have been able to take high ground on those Warforged a bit, but earlier Flash was able to take out one of the skeletons. You will notice that Superfrog forgot to roll the d20 for the necromancy power.
Oh, interesting.
Right there.
I did not see that immediately. And then
yeah, but right now he's bringing that up, that he forgot to roll for it, and so he'll roll it. Just to explain, since I have seen this before, he rolled a d20, gets the 18, so he brings back the skeleton, basically it would have gone onto Nicholas's card when it died, and then
Correct.
come back at the beginning of this turn that Superfrog is currently doing.
Now, if Taylor didn't watch spoilers, then we would not have this commentary right now. So
Yeah, we would have been
this is
freaking out because it'd be like, oh no, Superfrog forgot.
yikes, and it looks like a Warforged is going down.
Yeah.
But Superfrog is not going to crack through that armor with 1 and 2 skulls. Sorry to say.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty tough.
Big oofaroonie there, Taylor. Big oof-a-rooney. Oh, but it looks like the skeletons finally did take that movement glyph, so I'm not completely sure what we're going to see here. Do you just rush down some of these Warforged, you think?
I don't think so. I think you really just use that to get better positioning with your skeletons.
Fair enough.
Get the ones that are in the back up to the fight in the middle.
That will certainly help with the ones that die from or get revived from necromancy. That's for sure.
Yeah, that is very, very true.
And oof, flash rolling 3 skulls against that skeleton. It looks like the undead horde might be thinned. And I am super sorry for some of this interesting commentary.
You don't need to apologize, True.
Oh, I'm sorry. Riveting commentary.
Riveting radio.
Riveting, raving radio. And that skeleton is Gonzo? Question mark?
Well, Gonzo for now. It will come back next turn. See, Flash is over it already.
He is not having a good day.
Yeah, that is 2 skeletons that he's killed, but that have successfully rolled for necromancy and will be showing up.
Oh man, Superfrog being on point with his defense rolls as well.
Oh yeah.
Flash right there being like, yikes.
Yep, and that's where you start to sweat, because with Warforged, like I said, Flash has fewer figures than Superfrog does, and so individually his figures are stronger, and they can probably, one-on-one, they'll be able to take a skeleton just fine.
But it's just a couple of those missed attacks, a couple of those necromancy rolls. That's where things start getting a little dicey.
Right, and against a horde that can revive itself, where each kill on Flash's side is going to stay dead. And when you blink,
that is
2 skulls.
Oof, this is not looking good. Here comes the 3rd attack. Oh, and he blanks again. Oh my gosh. This could be a swing turn for the skeletons here.
Yeah, this is Flash sweating bullets. Fortunately, on that last one, Superfrog does only roll 1 skull, so that is automatically blocked by the Warforged Resolve.
Yes. So is that 1 squad of the Warforged down?
That is, I believe, 1 squad. Yeah, 1 full squad.
If I was Flash in this situation, I would probably start trying to bring Heirloom up, because if he could take out a group of skeletons, that could potentially swing him back into this game.
Right, yeah, I think it's just a tad too late for Heirloom, and you'll see that his 3rd order marker was on the Warforged anyway. I think he was just going for the all-in melee frontal assault approach. And
Ooh.
I think he's probably regretting that right now, because, yeah, this would be a great time to bring in Heirloom. It'd be a great time to have Guilty sniping from the back.
This could be
figures would have been huge.
This could be a newbie-esque move, at least for me. But what I typically try to do is, when I'm playing melee armies, is my first round will be moving my army up, and then in my second round, I'll alternate between my melee and my ranged. That way I can get my ranged more into position, and while also kind of screening at the same time. I don't know if that's necessarily the correct play in this game, but
it's okay if you're newbie.
That's right. I will fully take the mantle of newbie, my dude.
If you're a Nubian wolf.
A Nubian wolf. What?
Check it. We got them Heroscape puns.
All day, every day.
But yeah, I agree with that. I think I usually tend to, for example, say I've got pretty standard, lots of melee squad figures and a good ranged hero. I'll usually use my first order marker of my first round to move up that ranged hero into a place where basically he's not going to be directly in the action, but he's ready to jump onto high ground and start sniping, or
That's
whatever I need to do whenever I need him to do it, so that then later on in the game it only takes me one order marker to start putting on hits with a ranged figure.
Oof, and it looks superfrog roll 3 on that necromancy roll.
So that is the first for realsies dead skeleton. And I don't know what I was doing right here. I apologize. I don't remember that at all.
Wow. For
some reason, I decided to move the screen, and I'll tell you, it was a bad idea. It was a really bad idea.
I'll say it wasn't necessarily the best, but
hey, we're
back.
We're practicing still. We're still getting the hang of this, and to be fair, this is before we even made our actual channel. This is just me messing around watching the game.
That's right. And you know what? That's the true spirit of Heroscape. Am I right, friends?
You're right. This has been Words of Heroscape with True Murray.
That's right. Words of wisdom and Heroscape. Anyway, back from that bit.
Back from that, Flash is rolling better defense now. He survived 2 attacks.
It is about time. Except for that one.
But it's okay. We believe in him.
It's kind of interesting because the skeletons officially kind of have board control at this point. Flash is not going to be getting to that movement glyph anytime soon. The skeletons have completely claimed most of the high ground on the northern part. Tactical switch is still relevant, but I think Heirloom needs to get in there and start sweeping some of these zombies.
Yeah, I think Flash may be pushed in too far with his Warforged, played right into the numbers game that Superfrog wanted to play, where Superfrog had all of his reinforcements right nearby, and Superfrog just had more figures than Flash did.
That's right. Flash got too aggressive too early. I think he should have let those skeletons come into him.
Yeah, and he doesn't have his reinforcements. He's got only 3 Warforged on the front now. He's got 2 more in his start zone, but they're nowhere close to really being big players in this game right now.
Now, me and you talk about this quite a bit. This happens a lot in the Utah meta, but people tend to like to string out their Heroscape figures, and it's a little baffling because looking at Superfrog's board, he is in the position, if a skeleton dies and does not get revived with necromancy, a second skeleton can easily get back engaged with one of those figures, and I think that is far more important than pressing the attack.
Yeah, I think slow rolling is probably one of the I don't know if it's one of the most difficult parts to learn about playing Heroscape, but I think it's just so counterintuitive to a lot of players, where they want to get in there, they want to get the advantage as fast as they can, which, like for a lot of new players, that makes sense. You want to get the high ground so that you can roll more dice so that you can win. And if your opponent is stuck in their start zone, then, so much the better.
Correct.
You think. But when they've got all their reinforcements right nearby, they don't need to waste turns moving their figures into position. And if you lose that front, then you're in so much more trouble than the guy is who's got his reinforcements right nearby.
Correct.
I think Flash did start out really well, but I think just right there in the middle of round 2, he just got a little too greedy,
too aggressive,
to go for those tactical switches, and just ended up right in Superfrog's. What are frog hands called?
I want to say mittens, but
okay, mittens. Yep, Superfrog's mittens.
Sticky little mittens, frog-shaped mittens. That's right.
Actually,
in fact,
I want those.
That's right. Instead of like actual frog-looking fingers, it is just a mitten that looks like a frog. So it's just a frog with 2 frogs as hands.
It's a little like frog mouth.
Oh yeah.
Type thing. Mm-hmm. I've got a shark mouth oven mitt.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like a frog with two more frogs with three tongues.
So it's triple frog now.
Triple frog. That's
Welcome
right.
to
That
our
is
game
what.
with Flash versus Triple Frog.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. Super Frog. If you ever watch this, you have to now change your name to Triple Frog.
Yeah, legally.
Legally, yes. That said, if you guys ever want to like practice that slow roll, I would recommend having a horde battle and playing 50 ants.
Yep.
Yep, that is the best way to learn. That's how I learned. And guess who won that horde battle? It definitely was not the players playing against the 50 ants.
True knows this. True knows this from experience.
That's correct. That is correct. Everybody decided to bring their rats and their goblin cutters and their anti-horde armies, and I decided to play 50 ants.
Worked out pretty well.
Yeah. People are like,
tangent, we've got one guy. We're doing hordes again next week here in Utah. One guy's going to bring 32 Romans.
Ooh, legionnaires or archers?
Legionnaires.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is interesting. Oh, and
hey, and Flash has just perma-killed his second skeleton.
And how far into the game are we? Oh, third. Third. All right. Flash might be getting into this.
Yeah.
I guess we'll find out. But those skeletons are approaching his heroes slowly but surely. I guess we'll find out what happens here.
All right, and does block the third attack.
Big oof for Flash. Perma killed two skeletons, missed that last one. Although, skeleton's looking a little bit more weeded out now.
That is true. It's weird because it's only two more that he's actually killed, but it does make a difference. But still, Super Frog still has so many skeletons. He still has 9 of them on the board, where Flash only has 4 Warforged.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't saying that Flash has necessarily...
He's not out of the clear yet.
No. He is thick into the fire, as we say, out of the frying pan into the oven.
Yeah.
Yep. Butchered that one.
No, you're right. It's canon.
Yep. It's now canon.
Whoever invented that catchphrase, we need you to change it to what you just said.
That's right.
Legally.
Yes, legally. Also, your name needs to be Super Frog.
Triple Frog.
Triple Frog. That's right. Dope. It looks like Flash there rolled too many dice, but either way, he would have blocked it. It seems. But he did not block that one with 0 shields. So.
Yep, that is.
We're down to a single squad now.
Yep, just one squad. One of them is hiding behind that hive, and can be used to defend a little bit. But Flash is really going to need to start looking into what heroes he wants to use and what order. He does still have some pretty beefy heroes. They can definitely do a lot of good work, but it is not. Let's not sugarcoat it. It's not looking great for him.
It's not looking too great. I think at this point, I would almost stop putting order markers on the Warforged and maybe start putting order markers on, I don't know, maybe Guilty or Heirloom.
Yeah, you'll see right now, Flash is, and I don't think he expected his Warforged to fall so quickly, but he's stuck now halfway into this round. He's got his order marker 2 on Warforged, but he's only got 2 that are in position to attack.
And as you could see a little bit ago, Flash did try to evolve his Warforged into Mega Warforged, extending it out into a double space figure, but it seemed to backfire on him as it reverted back.
Yeah, unfortunately, this plastic isn't super malleable.
That's right. What most people don't know about the Warforged is you can combine them into Mecha Warforged, and it is a Megazord, and the Power Rangers will fight by your side.
Forged Tron?
Forgetron. Yes, correct. A maxed out attack and a roll of the
that is one squad officially down of dem skellies.
That's correct. One squad down.
Yeah, and to be fair, while Superfrog does have the numbers game still going for him, points wise, it's probably a bit closer than the numbers would suggest, since Flash does have a lot of his points shored up in his heroes.
That's true.
The skeletons, compared to the Warforged are an 80-point squad. The skeletons are a 105-point squad. So they're pricey, and they're supposed to be able to last long enough to,
to get in there.
Yeah, to do a lot of heavy lifting.
Now I see this pod of three skeletons and a Warforged, and I gotta tell you, I'd be real tempted to Force Orb my own Warforged at this point.
Oh, you would be. I know you would be, but you cannot Force Orb your own figures.
I know. But I mean, like, it's just like ready there. If I was playing Executioner with some rats, that thing would be dead.
Just blow that thing up. Or if you had like Zelrig or Deathwalker 9000, hit your own figure, blow it all up.
Oh yeah. Although if you're playing Deathwalkers, you're already on dire straits. So.
Hey man, one of the most fun times I had at a tournament was when I took Deathwalker 9000 just to see how many ways it would die.
That's right. And it turns out it only takes one skull from a cutter to get there.
Hey man. It still hurts.
That's correct. Oh, and Flash loses another Warforged, shoring up the south for Triple Frog to get in there.
Yep, he's now free in that area. He's got both the north and the south. There's just that one Warforged in the middle that's been able to be enough of a hindrance to probably annoy Triple Frog just a bit.
Yeah, he's not letting anybody get into the middle, luckily. But we might see something different here with this attack, with Flash's rolls the way they've been tonight.
That's true, yeah. I mean, that Warforged has been able to take out a good chunk of skeletons. By a good chunk, I think I mean 2.
I think that one Warforged has taken out a squad. Am I right?
Has it done the whole squad? No, he's killed a couple in a couple other places.
I think you're correct. I think some of them are in the north there.
Yeah.
It is... what order marker are we on? Do we know this?
So this is Flash's 3rd order marker.
Who won initiative? Was Superfrog the one who got this one?
I believe Flash got this one.
So we have one more turn of skeletons.
Yep, that's correct. And that skeleton killed but gets the necromancy roll. So it will be coming back.
That is correct. I still think Flash should have been switching over to his heroes this round, but
yeah, I think so too. I mean, he did do a good job of getting that Warforged that was by the hive into a good defensive position to kind of block the skeletons coming in. Even then, Superfrog could have circumvented that Warforged if he had decided to, but I mean, he's doing well for what he's got, but I think he committed too much into the Warforged.
That's true. It seems that Superfrog is looking to crush his opponent's willpower by just taking out his squads and leaving his heroes to wallow in misery.
Yeah, I mean, like, when you're trying to beat your opponent, just making them feel lonely.
That's right.
Can just do wonders.
And you've heard that here first, folks. Loneliness is wins you games.
Yeah, on your opponent's part.
Yeah, of course.
All right, and that was the end of the round. There was not another turn of the skeletons. I was mistaken there, but Superfrog did just get a 9 for his Wannock roll, which means Flash put a wound on Evar Scarcarver. And this is a good talking point right now. Evar Scarcarver, for those of you who might not know, who might not be super familiar with the D&D waves, he's fairly reminiscent of our favorite big boy Krug, in that when he takes wounds, he gets added attack and defense. Now, this is only when Flash reveals the X order marker on Evar Scarcarver's card. So basically, he has to invest into it a little bit more than Krug does, because Krug's thing is always on forever. You kind of have to turn it on by taking a turn with him. But he will be getting plus attack and defense for each wound that he has on his card.
What's interesting is I always forget that Evar has 4 range, which is always pertinent because it gets me every single time.
Yeah, that 4 range, it's enough to keep his options open when he's running around with, maxed out attack. He also does have double assault, which is if his first attack is against an adjacent figure, he can attack one more time, basically gives him 2 attacks. The fun thing about that is that if he's adjacent to, say, one figure and he kills it with his first attack, he can then attack with his ranged attack at the second figure.
Very interesting. Now, here's a question. With 1 wound being on Evar, do you rush Evar tying up those skeletons that are adjacent to that Warforged?
Well, that's a really good question. I think,
Me personally, I feel like I would want to move Guilty or Heirloom up to the south and try to take out the 2 skeletons coming up from there, where those 2 skeletons are currently tangled up in that Warforged. But I digress.
Right. I think he could focus on those southern, but also those southern skeletons aren't really super close to threatening Flash's figures. I guess one of them with the movement glyph can get adjacent to Heirloom if Superfrog wins initiative, which he does not.
He did
Flash
not.
takes it.
Interesting.
So that'll be good for him. And if we look at Flash's order markers, I guess we can see where this is going, which is going to be 3 order markers on Scarcarver, 1 on Heirloom. And so, yeah, this is how he does it. So when he reveals an order marker on Scarcarver, he can also reveal the X, as he's doing right now, to turn on Frost Rage, which will be giving him +1 attack and defense for each wound marker on his card.
Is that for the whole round?
Yep, that's going to be for the rest of the round.
See, this is why... Okay, so he rolls 1 skull. So if he does not kill the skeleton here, this is why I was thinking you move up Heirloom or Guilty. So if he ties up Evar with these 2 skeletons... Oh, and he... Okay, I'm just... All right. Kills that skeleton, boy.
Does kill it. Will be coming back through Necromancy.
I mean, but if Flash can tie or untie Evar with these 2 attacks, then all right. Oh, and it looks like he does block with the second skeleton.
Yep. That is true. But I think I do agree with you. I do think that moving Heirloom out of the way, he still could have attacked both of those skeletons, essentially, with his Force Orb, and he would have been able to just reposition a little bit. I don't think Scarcarver was in any danger of getting hit. And he could have always started Frost Raging on Order Marker 2 and basically done the same thing.
Yeah, because he would have still had to get through that 1 Warforged if he decided to move those skeletons.
Right.
That said, Flash has beaten me a lot, so what do I know?
Oh, yeah, he's beaten me plenty of times as well. So this is us getting revenge on Flash.
That's right. This is just all us picking on Flash. This is why we picked this game, and he deserves it. All right, moving those skeletons back up, and like you said, getting a clean attack on Heirloom.
Yep, she's got first an attack on Scarcarver, and Scarcarver will take another wound. So that's, a bummer on one side, but that also means that he's got 4 attack and 5 defense at this point.
That's correct.
Flanks against Heirloom, and now he opted to engage that Warforged with 2 of his skeletons to really try to take it out. And I don't know, what do you think about that?
I almost feel like I wouldn't have done that, namely because seeing Flash's order markers, he's not going to be activating those Warforged anytime soon. So you could have moved those skeletons into position and potentially just taking out some heroes.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. That Warforged, it's on a good piece of real estate, but it's not necessarily an important one because Superfrog could have just circumvented that. You didn't need to be afraid of the skeletons at all, and I think
Right.
he just unintentionally he just wasted 2 attacks on that Warforged.
Right. And not only that, like that Warforge is not in any position to try to attack Nicholas. And if even if it did, it's not going to kill Nicholas at anytime soon.
Yeah, it is in position that it can hit Nicholas.
Well, I mean, but it's still not going to kill Nicholas.
It's not going to be huge. Nicholas can fly away, or if he takes a wound, he can attack the Warforged and kill it. He'll have more attack and he'll be on even ground. And we've got Flash just used his second order marker on Heirloom, and this is where I think it would have been better to get a Force Orb with Heirloom while he could have.
I agree. I wonder if Flash maybe messed up his order markers there, because I would have expected him to move Heirloom first.
Yeah, me as well. He could have. I'm guessing what he was thinking was he wanted to start the Frost Rage on Scarcarver as early in the round as he could to get the bonus defense that Frost Rage gives him. But where Scarcarver wasn't in any danger of taking hits because both of those skeletons were tied up, I don't think he needed to do that so early on.
Yeah, man, that Flash guy, what a scrub. Get good. Yeah, I bet you he does play Isamu, like every tournament or something.
Love you, Flash.
Oof, but it is not looking good. With that skeleton locked up with Heirloom, Guilty is the only one that is free to roam around the board, and his other turn in Evar, I don't know how this is going to turn out.
Right, yeah, it's kind of up in the air at this point. He does, I still think Flash does have the power in his heroes to be able to at least take out the rest of these skeletons, provided Superfrog doesn't roll super crazy on his necromancy rolls. But I think his firepower is there, especially because Scarcarver can go nuts. But things haven't been working out quite like Flash would like them to for that to happen.
That's very true. That said, Heirloom is a pretty chunky hero.
He is pretty chunky, but he did also just take 2 wounds.
And that is just Flash being a scrub again. So, I mean, there's nothing for me to say here. Like, come on, okay, Flash, get good. Second one he blocked. So I guess I can't give him too much crap. And then the third attack being on Evar and completely blocking that attack. Unless I misconstrued and he is actually attacking that Warforged.
No, this is the new... He blanked against the Warforged.
Oh, gotcha.
But, yep, and he's moving that newly necromancied, reanimated skeleton up into the fray as well. It's just a horde that will not die for Triple Frog here.
So here's a question. Do you start moving up that movement glyph skeleton?
I think you do, because it's really not doing much for you other than keeping one of your skeletons out of the game.
Right. And also, the skeletons have pretty good board control at this point, although with him moving his skeletons up adjacent to that Warforged, I think... Debatable. I feel like that move kind of hindered him. Now he can't move past that Warforged very easy.
Right. Yeah, I think if he was going to be stringing those skeletons over to Flash's start zone, then that's one thing. The movement glyph does become valuable there. But especially where he's got 4 skeletons in position to attack anyway, they're not going to be using the movement glyph. He might as well be using his Undead Legion bonus movement to move that skeleton off of the movement glyphs and get it into position to fight.
Right. As you mentioned before there, Taylor, Evar using his special ability to attack the adjacent skeleton and then making a ranged attack on that glyph. He blocked it perfectly, but that would have been a pretty sweet turn for Flash.
That would have been a great 2-for-1 and really, really big there.
And you know what I call a 2-for-1? Value.
Yeah, can't deny this value.
Oof. I don't necessarily agree with Superfrog's thought process here. Wasting
Yeah,
an
we're gonna have to
entire.
go back and see how many attacks that Warforged has soaked up. When Triple Frog could have easily just circumvented it.
Oh, yeah. And he, other than killing Heirloom, which is huge right here, he wasted
yeah.
3 attacks. 3 whole attacks in which he could have been attacking Guilty and or Evar in this turn.
Right, yeah, like especially with Evar, where Evar's at 2 wounds, he's starting to get really, really dangerous with his Frost Rage, and you don't want him to be running around as he pleases. You want to get that guy tied up and finished off, especially with a new round coming in.
Yeah, oof.
That's where Evar is most vulnerable, is between rounds when he doesn't have his Frost Rage activated.
Not only that, but I feel like Evar could potentially go up to the north and then in the second turn just start blasting Nicholas with
Right,
those
that's true as
3
well.
with those 3 skeletons being blocked right there.
Yeah, if he runs around that piece of high ground, shoots the one on the glyph, and then runs over and starts blasting Nicholas, and those skeletons, unless they can break through that Warforged's defense, they're not going to be able to do anything about it.
And that's where I go, womp, 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 wow. But that said, the skeletons are in a pretty hefty lead, so we'll need some pretty decent rolls from Flash as he rolls a 2 on initiative.
That is correct. And Superfrog.
And oh my gosh. All right. Well, we got a game here, folks.
All right, Triple Frog rolling 13 on the reroll.
All right.
Flash rolling the 11.
All right. Well, that was a pretty important initiative roll there. It may not seem like it if Super Frog just goes 3 attacks on that Warforged, but
yeah, well, but that does give him a chance with that skeleton on Wannock to take height and attack down on Scarcarver while Scarcarver's defense is back down to 3.
Which is very important for attack on 3 life. But yeah, here's the question: is he going to do it?
I mean, he'd better.
He moves 2 skeletons over at Guilty. What's going on here? Is it going to happen? Is it going to happen?
Oh, is he not going to?
Oh my gosh, he is not. Okay.
2 attacks on Guilty and 2 attacks on Warforged. I don't.
Oh my heck! And I don't feel like Guilty is in this game right now. Like, I can't really agree with these attacks.
Right, yeah, I don't know if he's thinking that he doesn't want to wound Scarcarver too much and make him even stronger, but this is his opening to be able to get some wounds on Scarcarver, because if he puts 1 or 2 wounds on Scarcarver, all he needs to do is a little bit more, and if Scarcarver's got a lot of defense, then that's fine, because Superfrog can have the number of attacks. If he can get past these Cowboys and Warforged that are holding him up.
That's right. Turns out 3 attack is really bad when you roll 1 skull.
Yeah. Yeah, Guilty, that Warforged just coming in clutch, tying up those skeletons.
Oh my gosh. This is insanity.
Yeah, he's ready to do whatever he wants.
I mean, okay, so if Scarcarver kills Nicholas, like, does that swing the game that heavily?
I think it depends on how long those skeletons stayed tied up. Because Nicholas is a huge threat with his potential for 2 attacks of 4 in 1 turn, as well as his ability to just life drain figures. But so if he snipes Nicholas and the skeletons are still tied up, then this is Flash's game. That said, Flash is going to run back into his start zone.
Are you serious? Flash, my dude. I know you're better than this. We've been giving you a lot of crap this game, but what are you doing? What are you doing right now?
Yeah, I think I like the plan to run across the high ground, take out the one on the glyph. But I think he wants to take out as many skeletons as he can, as quickly as he can. And especially where he's Frost Raging now, he doesn't need to be too afraid of Not for one, not killing skeletons because 4 attack will get through 3 defense, as we just see right there. Superfrog's
And
gonna
permanently killing that
Yep,
skeleton
that is
as
a
well.
permanent kill. The second attack is blocked, but that's one more gone, and that's one less attack overall that Flash has to worry about.
Very
So,
true.
yeah, I mean, I can see it going either way. I think I would have gone for Nicholas while I figured he was, sitting there with no order markers on him, or at least just the X. But I can see this reasoning as well.
Yeah, I just feel like Superfrog and Flash are kind of blinded by certain plays here. Keeping glyphs can be important. Wynock being kind of important right now, but
Wynock's all right. But I still think he should have gotten off of that and attacked Evar. And he finally breaks through.
Broke through it. Finally broke through.
Yep, and he can use his Undead Legion to move up 2 more of his skeletons. But again, I mean, I guess Valda will come into play a little bit here, but he could have had another skeleton, ready to defend against Evar or ready to attack against Evar, just doing whatever he needed to with a lot of Undead Legion movements he could have gotten while he was trying to get that Warforged.
Like, he could have had those 2 glyph skeletons up attacking Evar and Guilty at this point.
Right.
Very, very interesting plays. Now, I can't necessarily disagree with any opponents here because us looking from the outside in, it's obviously we can see different plays than being deep inside the match. But
right, and a lot of it comes down to personal play style, heat of the moment. Again, Flash is probably feeling really pressured more by the skeletons than by Nicholas, and so he probably thinks he can take on Nicholas when Nicholas comes into play, but doesn't want to leave the skeletons alive because he doesn't, he wants to face fewer attacks per turn.
That's fair. That's very fair. You definitely know my thought process here, though, Taylor. I would have definitely risked it for that Nicholas biscuit.
Oh, yes.
The payoff would have been glorious.
Them vampire biscuits are the best.
What can I say? Oh, and a skeleton goes back on the card. How many skeletons we got left here? We got a squad and 1 figure?
Yep, squad and 1 figure. It will be a squad and 2 figures once Superfrog takes another turn with the skeletons.
And this marks the second order marker on both Flash, and it seems order marker 3 is on Nicholas. Interesting. Yes. About time we see this soft vampire-y boy come into play.
Right. So looks like So Nicholas is gonna move up a bit. That'll help. Like when the skeletons come back, they'll be able to come back closer to the actual action and not have to start back in the start zone and come back up. That is one of the things when you're playing the skeletons. You can keep your vampire in the start zone where he's safer, but then your skeletons have farther to go to get into the action, or you can move your vampire up further. That's one of those balancing points where, risk reward type thing. But it looks like he's going to go for that place where that Warforged was. He got that Warforged out of the way just in time.
So interesting way to point this out. So if Flash moves Evar up and Superfrog wins initiative here, Nicholas can come in when Evar is vulnerable and take him out with an overextended attack.
Right, that is true. Flash is going to opt to stay in his start zone and just take a shot at a nearby skeleton, which is going to be blocked.
Very interesting.
But and I think that with Nicholas so close by, I do think that is the correct choice to just kind of hang back for a little bit. Let the fight come to you a little bit more.
I don't know. I feel like for skeletons, I would be a little bit more aggressive. Personally.
Yeah, well, you would. I guess he could have gone up and engaged that skeleton that he attacked from range. And then had he killed it, he would have been able to take a second shot at the other skeleton nearby.
Right. And Flash looking to opt to kill his last remaining Warforged, which I agree with. Unless, I guess you could put the wound on Evar to soup him up, but that makes him a little bit more flimsy with this attack that's happening right here.
Yes, that is correct. And right here and now, we've got Nicholas going in for the kill.
Or potentially not. Going to overextend, getting 2 more skulls again. Evar taking 1, but this is incredibly dangerous now. Evar being action-packed next to Nicholas, gonna go full tilt.
Triple Frog wanted to go for the win right there, and I don't think I agree with it. He had to deal 3 wounds onto Scar Carver. Well, but he still had skeletons ready to go. He had plenty of other opportunities later on to try to use Nicholas to snipe Evar. Yep. And he just slightly wounded him, and this is going to happen. 5 skulls, 1 shield from Triple Frog, and Nicholas is gone. And that's 1 more skeleton that's now permanently dead because it didn't get to come back.
That is a turn for sure. Now skeletons now have permadeath.
Yeah, now every time they're gone for good.
That said, Evar only has 2 more life. Can 5 skeletons get through 2, or what is that? 6 defense? We will see.
Yeah, we'll have to see if they can hold on to it. I think, Superfrog just doesn't have his numbers in the right places right now. And I think that comes back again to tying himself up with the Warforged and leaving that skeleton on Valda.
Yeah, that was a turn that really benefited Flash there. Where he basically wasted, 5 attacks just trying to kill that 1 Warforged when he didn't have any order markers on it. It's a rough one. Especially with Evar now having 6 defense. It's going to be a hard nut to crack.
Oh, it's going to be really hard. Yeah, Superfrog was trying to just win the game right then and there, but all he did was make Scar Carver stronger. Even if you're thinking about average rolls, 2 attacks of 4 seems pretty good, but that's still going to average out to
at least 2 wounds
on Scar Carver. You could get the 3rd wound and kill him. You could only do 1 though, and I think he should have held that off for 1 more round. Used his skeletons, and then come in with Nicholas.
But at the same time, I can't fault Triple Frog for doing that because that is a play I would have done as well. If you can just end the game really early, just go for it. The risk is worth the reward almost, in my opinion. Especially if the only figure you'd have left is Guilty.
Hey, don't knock Guilty, man.
Guilty only has 1 life, and then Nicholas can just swoop in and attack him.
That's true. But still.
Oof, and Flash literally killing it with these attack rolls. This is where Evar's attack really comes in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Evar's just been boosted up to Super Saiyan status. Superfrog's still neglecting to bring in his skeletons on the glyphs.
Yep, he is. That said, the Wynock glyph is incredibly important right now.
Yeah, Wynock is still fine, but I think Valda would helped to just tie up Ever Scar Carver more so that Wynock can be more use.
And
and Superfrog lost an order marker.
Stealing it. That's huge.
Yeah.
I think Flash completely turned this on his head.
Mm-hmm.
Turned it right around.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's safe to say Flash was playing behind for most of this game. And now Ever Scar Carver is looking to bring it right back into... he has brought it right back into Flash's hands and is looking to finish it off. That's
right. It's because Evar did charge up for several episodes like a Super Saiyan.
Yep.
Can't deny it. Too good. Too good. And it seems that you've been playing around with the chat there a lot there, my friend. Is there a reason for it?
I mean, right there I was circling. I think there was a little bit of delay right there. I think Flash hadn't realized that he had stolen an order marker from Superfrog.
Oh. Dang it, Flash.
And was waiting for Superfrog to take his turn.
So can Flash take a shot at the skeleton? Is he in range?
The one on the shadow, yes. Easily. It depends on, I think, let's see, 1, 2, 4, 5. Yeah, the one on that shadow is the only one that he can go for. So it depends on if he wants to, basically what he was trying to do at first, go into start zone or take even height right now.
I think that's a fair thing to do there, especially where you don't want skeletons to be getting height attacks on you.
Right.
Oh, that is brutal. 2 skeletons left against 2 essentially half-lifed heroes.
Yeah.
This is not looking good for Triple Frog there.
Right. That is the end of the round. Triple Frog will get the Wannock, but oh,
and he rolls a 1. Oh, that's game right there. Why not Glyph?
Oh man.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But I mean, like, even if he hadn't backfired right there, he still only would have killed Guilty, and Scarcarver still would have been in position to bring it home. But man, yeah, that's just further signs from the universe that skeletons have just decided to return to the grave.
Big oof. Flash, you are incredibly lucky. I am not sure how you flip this back on its head, but I will give you props for...
It's all skill. But I mean, like, even Flash, you can see saying right there, he thought Triple Frog had it in the bag.
What a punk. Now he's just taunting Triple Frog. Ugh. The goal of this guy, am I right?
Yeah, and he's going to Frost Rage, and I'm guessing take equal height for the final attack.
I would assume so, unless if this skeleton can get real lucky. Although 5 attack on 3 defense is not looking good.
That is, yeah. That's 3 skulls. Superfrog needs to max out his shields.
3 shields, easy.
2 shields.
Oh, well.
That is game.
Yes, that will wrap it up for tonight's game. A lot of interesting plays. Would you say so yourself?
Well, yeah, I think there were a lot of interesting talking points. I mean, obviously, we didn't agree with all of the plays that happened, but I mean, it's a really interesting matchup. There's a lot of ways to play this matchup.
There's a lot of
ways to play this map.
I did a lot of crap talking this game, but that said, both of these players are very excellent at how they play this game, and I can't necessarily disagree with any plays that are necessarily made.
Right, yeah. And again, like, a lot of it goes back to playstyle. I mean, you know, you'll always disagree with what other players do. True and I disagree with what we do all the time. I mean, like, True thinks I play way too safe. I don't know what that's about, but...
That's true. Your fire elementals need to go into the water to get maximum searing intensity burns. I'm just saying.
I agree with that. But that's also because I like hot tubs.
That's right. But yeah, very interesting game. Flash and Superfrog kind of discussing it there towards the end. But yeah, I would have to say I'm glad I watched this game. It was very interesting.
Yep, very fun one. Very well played on both sides. And thank you to Flash and Superfrog for playing this game for us, even though you didn't know it at the time. I did get permission from them, and they both said that they're cool with us casting this. So thank you for that.
Very nice. Yes, thank you, our friends.
Yeah, and with that, just really quick, if you ever want to play a game for us that we can watch, we're more than happy to watch you play, and True will talk crap on you, and I'll make excuses.
Yes, please post in our forums if you would like to play a game.
Yep, links in the description below. You can find how to play online Heroscape. You can go to the match request thread. Whether you're new or experienced, we just want more games of all sorts and kinds. We're looking to hopefully get more games from different players in the future. We do have a new online Heroscape season starting up soon. And hopefully, if the players are willing to let us record, and I have heard from a few that they would be willing to let us record their games, we'll be able to get some casts of some really good high-level play. We've got a lot of really good players, including Superfrog and hopefully Flash. I'm trying to talk Flash into playing online. Just a lot of really good players online, and they provide really excellent games all the time.
Very excellent. Anyway, I think we should be wrapping up the show here. Taylor, is there anything that you would like to send us off with?
I think the world is beautiful, but Mars is looking pretty good this time of year too.
That's true. I mean, who doesn't want to live up there in Marstown? Oh, you know what? This is kind of impromptu, but a couple of podcasts that I've been recently listening to like to send off the show with something outside the topic that they're talking about. So, Taylor, do you have anything outside the realm of Heroscape that you'd like to plug?
Yeah. So, there's this guy does a lot of cool art. He's doing this Pokemon choose your own adventure.
Oh, well, that's not necessarily what I was meaning, but
whatever.
Go on.
True Murray. Check out True Murray's art. It's great. He's got some Heroscape art on the forums. I'll plug it in the description below.
Yeah, and if you like Choose Your Own Adventures, I am currently doing a Choose Your Own Adventure comic. For me, though, if I were to plug something outside the realm of Heroscape, I'd have to say your boy here definitely likes some anime, and Netflix recently just added Anohana, the flower we saw that day. And if you like to ugly cry at very sappy anime, highly recommend. Yep.
And with that out of the
way. All right. I have been your host, True Murray. I am on the Heroscape forums as True Murray. And this has also been my host, Taylor, or Big a Bullfrog. Taylor, would you like to say something?
Yeah. Oh,
cool.
Yeah.
All right. And this has been 10 Points Under, the show where Isamu is for scrubs. Thank you guys for watching. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more. And I'm going to say, we out.